Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking through a couple of my favorite plays on Prizepicks for today's slate for Monday, March the 28th. Hope you guys had a good weekend. We're back to talk through some NBA for today. I know I didn't make any videos over the weekends. I normally don't upload on the weekends, but we did have a really good day Friday, right before the end of the week. We had a 4-1 day on Friday, and over the last 3 to 4 days, basically since Tuesday of last week, we've gone 13, 3, and 1 on the 17 plays we've given out over like the last 4 or 5 days. I got 4 plays I'm going to share in this video. We've been doing pretty well on the free plays that I've been sharing, so hopefully we can continue it into today's slate. But before we do get started, guys, as always, hit that like button down below. I do always appreciate the likes. If you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button as well. Ever since I started making these Prizepicks videos, I've seen a lot of new faces on the channel. We've been gaining a lot more subscribers, which is obviously something that I love to see. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And also, if you are new to Prizepicks and you want to check them out, you can sign up with my promo code. Promo code NOAH will give you a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. So basically, whatever you deposit up to $100, they will double that. So if you deposit $50, they'll give you an additional $50 to play with. You deposit $100, they'll give you an additional $100 to play with. Definitely make sure to sign up for Prizepicks. Use that promo code so that way you do get that deposit bonus when you sign up. But yeah, guys, I got 4 plays that I'm going to share in this video. We'll go ahead and kind of talk through these plays, share why I like them, and then in the end, it's kind of up to you guys to decide how you want to play these plays. Now, I did already put in a 4-pick power with these 4 guys just because, by some chance, if I do get all 4 of my plays right, I want to have a shot at winning 10x my money. I usually play somewhat lighter on those 4-pick powers just because those are harder to hit. You can do 2 picks, you can choose how you want to play them, but my goal is to, share the plays with you guys, really go in depth on why I like them, and then it's basically up to you to decide, kind of how you want to play those plays. But we'll start off in the fantasy points category. I got 2 fantasy points projections that I feel are a little bit too low today. So we're going to start off with the Pacers going over 37 fantasy points for Tyrese Halliburton. So this is a prop that definitely stood out to me at first look. We can take a look at last game. Tyrese Halliburton did not go over his projection, but that was a tougher matchup against Toronto. I think the Pacers lost that game by like 40. But one thing worth noting is that the Pacers only had 8 available players last game. So right now, Goga Batadze is questionable, and Dwayne Washington Jr. is questionable. If both those guys get ruled out for Indiana, they're only going to have 8 available players because they're missing Malcolm Brogdon, who's out, Isaiah Jackson's out, Miles Turner is still out, Chris Duarte's out, TJ McConnell's still out, and then obviously Ricky Rubio, TJ Warren, neither one of those guys are playing right now either. So this Indiana team is really shorthanded right now. There's obviously some concerns here that maybe they get blown out again. They got blown out last game against Toronto, but worth noting that they are playing at home today, which I think makes it a little bit more likely the game stays close. I think it's a better matchup against Atlanta as well. I know last time these teams played, Indiana was really shorthanded and they still kept the game close. And I think Halliburton had a really big game, if I remember correctly. I know he went over 37 fantasy points. But I'm really just kind of looking at, Malcolm Brogdon's out today, which is the main reason that I'm kind of interested in Tyrese Halliburton. Without Brogdon on the floor, Halliburton does get a nice bump in his assist rate. His usage goes up as well. This season he's played 481 minutes with Brogdon off the floor. He's averaged, 1.13 fantasy points per minute, which per 36 puts him at over 40 fantasy points per 36. And we know, if this game's close, Tyrese Halliburton should play 36 to 38 minutes. Last game, even in a blowout, he played 33 minutes just because they were so shorthanded. They couldn't play the entire bench because they only had 3 bench guys. I mean, they only had 8 players last game. If we're in a scenario today where they only have 8 players, Halliburton could still go over 37 fantasy points even in a blowout just because they only have 8 players available. And, these guys are going to have to get run regardless. I would definitely feel better about Halliburton if Goga and Dwayne Washington don't play just because that makes their rotation even more thin. But I think regardless, when you look at the matchup against Atlanta, you look at the projection for Halliburton, in my opinion, it stands out as being a little bit too low. Because I think if Halliburton does play his normal 36, 37 minutes, the fact that he's averaged over a fantasy point per minute without Malcolm Brogdon this year should put him around 40, 41 fantasy points if he plays his normal minutes. I know the projections that I look at have Halliburton over 40 fantasy points. I think they have him at like 41.5 or something like that. So I'm taking the over 37 fantasy points for Tyrese Halliburton. I do like a lot of his props today. You could always go with PRA. That's one that he always seems to hit when he has good games. You could go with points. I do feel like his points prop's a little bit too low. Even assist prop, we know Tyrese Halliburton can get a lot of assists. He can have mediocre games without really doing anything else except getting assists. Like last game, he only scored 30 fantasy points, but he still went over his assist prop. So like even over 9 assists, that's something I like as well. But for the sake of this video, we're going to take over 37 fantasy points for Tyrese Halliburton. And then the second pick, also a fantasy point projection that I think is a little bit too low, over 37 fantasy points for Jordan Poole. That's going to be the second pick we go to. So the Warriors, tonight they're going to be really shorthanded. They've been shorthanded lately without Steph Curry, but it looks like they're going to be without Klay Thompson, without Draymond Green, and without Otto Porter Jr. as well, because all three of those guys are unlikely to play. This is a back-to-back for Golden State. They did play Sunday, and they lost Sunday, but I would think that Jordan Poole should be fine to play normal minutes here. He's obviously a really young guy. He can handle playing big minutes back-to-back nights. But the veterans are going to be out. It seems like Klay, Draymond, Otto Porter are all going to be out. And you can take a look at this season. Jordan Poole has played 360 minutes with Steph, Klay, Draymond, and Otto Porter all off the floor. Leads the team with a 31.7% usage rate, averaging 1.16 fantasy points per minute. He's got a very solid 30% assist percentage. Obviously, per 36 stats look really good, averaging over 41 fantasy points per 36, averaging over 27 points per 36. This is another play that I was, I was kind of deciding, like, what did I want to take? I feel like Poole's going to have a really good game. I just didn't know what prop I wanted to take. I was debating going over 25.5 points, going over 5.5 assists. His assists have been way up lately. I know he went under his assists last game, but the potential assists have been really high for Jordan Poole. He's just been doing everything. He's been getting a ton of touches. I know last time I looked, I think it was Friday, over his last 3 games without Steph, he was leading the league in touches per game. He's just touching the ball so much. He's got the ball in his hand so much. He's taking a ton of shots every night. Like yesterday, he shot the ball terribly yesterday. I think he shot like 30% from the field. I want to pull it up real quickly. So, Jordan Poole yesterday against Washington, he shot 8 for 25 and 1 for 10 from 3. So 32% from the field, 10% from 3. And he still scored, over 37 fantasy points while having a terrible shooting game. He's just, he's taking so many shots every night. His usage is just absurd right now. He's getting rebounds. He's getting assists. He's just doing everything on the floor. Over 37 fantasy points, I do like a lot for Jordan Poole. Now, this is another game that, does have some blowout risk. Obviously, Memphis, even without Ja Morant, is still a really good team. We see Memphis be able to blow out guys, blow out teams even without Ja. Warriors are on a back-to-back, so there's obviously some concern here. But I think Jordan Poole's role is just going to be absurd. If the game stays close, I think he will play probably close to 40 minutes. I mean, he's played at least 39 minutes now in 4 straight games. Poole has played at least 39 minutes. So I'm thinking we get 38 to 40 minutes from Jordan Poole if the game's close. He's averaged over a fantasy point per minute, way more than a fantasy point per minute without Steph this year. I like over 37 fantasy points for Jordan Poole. You can look at the last 5 games. I think he's gone over it in three straight games. He's gone over 37 fantasy points. In the 2 games he didn't, obviously, came up just short. Some of those games, I can't remember those might have been without Steph. I think Steph's been out for like the last 5 or 6 games. But, I'm taking the over 37 fantasy points for Jordan Poole. I think the game will stay close, and if it does, Jordan Poole is probably going to be the reason why, because he's going to be definitely the go-to scorer for Golden State tonight, him and Andrew Wiggins. But those are 2 fantasy point projections I like. Now we're going to go over to the points category. This is a points prop that I feel like is definitely too low. Now, the matchup here may not be ideal, but I'm going over 16.5 points for Nikola Vucevic. So this prop really stood out to me at first look. Now, this is actually a prop that is lower than his season average. On the season, Vuce has averaged 18 points per game. So we're getting a prop that's below his season average. Is obviously one that I feel like is pretty accurate. Normally, Vuce does score around 16 to 20 points per game. So he's going to live right in this range. I mean, you can look over his last 5 games. The 3 games where he didn't go over this prop, he was 1 point short. I mean, 16 points, 16 points, 16 points. The 2 games where he did go over, he had 19 and 22 points. But it is worth noting that he has a lot of success against the Knicks so far this season. Mitchell Robinson is a good defender, but Mitchell Robinson is really good at defending the paint. And Vuce is someone that doesn't really need to get a lot of points in the paint. He can step out and shoot the 3. He's got a good mid-range jumper. And so far this year, the Knicks have played the Knicks twice this season. The Bulls have. Vuce scored 22 points in the first game they played the Knicks. That was early in the season, in October 28th. And then on December the 2nd, when they played the Knicks again, Vuce had 27 points. So Vuce has scored 27 and 22 points in the 2 games against the Knicks this season. His numbers this season, when you look at like per 36 stats, I mean, they're solid. 25% usage rate on the season. Per 36, he is averaging over 16.5 points per 36. He's actually averaging 19 points per 36. And Vuce should play around 36 minutes if the game stays close. You look over his last 5 games. In the games that have been close, against Cleveland, 36 minutes. Against Toronto, 33. Pelicans game was somewhat of a blowout. They lost by 17. The Milwaukee game was somewhat of a blowout. They got blown out by Phoenix. But usually in close games, Vooch is playing 34, 36 minutes, and this game has, I think, a 2.5-point spread. It's expected to stay close. We should get 35, 36 minutes from Vooch, and I'm just going to bank on him scoring his season average and going over 16.5 points. If this line was 18.5, I probably wouldn't take it, or 18, but I think 16.5 is definitely too low. Even when Vooch has a bad scoring game, he could still score 17 points. I mean, usually he's living right around this range. And given that he's had success against Mitchell Robinson, he's had success against the Knicks, I think Vooch can score 17 points and go over this prop. So I definitely feel like this is a line that did stand out to me as being a little bit too low. I know the matchup may not be ideal. The Knicks play slow. They're a good defensive team. But Vooch has been able to have success against Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson, again, like I said, really good at defending the paint, blocking a lot of shots, defending the rim. But Vooch doesn't have to get his points in the paint. He can step out, shoot the three. He's got a good mid-range jumper. So I like over 16.5 points for Nikola Vucevic. And then the fourth and final play in this video that we're going to share is Tyus Jones assists. So I'm going over 6.5 assists for Tyus Jones, a number that he has hit in 3 out of his last 4 games without Ja Morant. And the one game that he did not hit 6.5 assists, or he didn't get 7 assists, was Indiana, and they blew out Indiana. Tyus Jones only played like 24 or 25 minutes in that game. He didn't play at all in the fourth quarter. But you can take a look at this season without Ja on the floor. As you would expect, Tyus Jones leads the team in assist rate, 30% assist percentage, averaging per 36, over 7.5 assists per 36. And over his last 4 games without Ja, we've actually seen Tyus Jones average over 8 assists, the last 4 games. So last 4 games without Ja, Tyus Jones has had close to 12 potential assists, 11.8 potential assists, and then he's averaging 8 assists. Again, he's gone over this in 3 out of his last 4 games without Ja. The one game where he didn't was a blowout, and he didn't get his full minutes. As we mentioned earlier, this game does have a little bit of blowout risk. Golden State's on a back-to-back. They're going to be missing Clay, Draymond, Otto Porter. This Memphis team, even without Ja, they're still a really good team, and they've been capable of blowing out anyone. I think right now Memphis is favored by like 10.5. So that's my one concern, is that maybe this game blows out and maybe we don't get full minutes from Tyus Jones. But I think correlating Tyus Jones and Jordan Poole together does make a lot of sense. Just because if this game does play close, if these guys get their full minutes, I feel very confident that if we get more normal minutes from Tyus Jones, 34, 35 minutes, he's going to get 7 assists for us. If we get 34, 35, 36 minutes from Jordan Poole, hell, even in close games, Jordan Poole's been playing like 40 minutes. So if we get 40 minutes from Jordan Poole, I feel confident he's going over 37 fantasy points. So honestly, if you wanted to do a 2-pick with Poole and Tyus Jones, I think that makes a lot of sense because you're correlating those guys together. You're assuming the game stays close. And like I said, if the game does stay close, I feel confident both those guys go over their projections. But I am liking the over 6.5 assists for Tyus Jones. It's a number he's gone over in 3 out of his last 4 games without Ja. He's a guy that he's a good scorer, but he does kind of take a back seat when it comes to scoring. He's not super aggressive offensively. He definitely will. He'll look for an open shot whenever he can get it. So he's a really good facilitator. He'll definitely be looking for Desmond Bane, for Triple J. He can feed it down low to Steven Adams. He's just got a lot of guys out there that he can feed the ball to get assists. And he's hit this, again, in 3 out of his last 4 without Ja. So I like over 6.5 assists for Tyus Jones, the fourth and final play in this video. So these are 4 kind of early props I do like for today, guys. Again, recording this video around 1 o'clock on Monday. So, most of the boards have been posted for today. There will be some props I take a look at later in the day. I do give out more props that I like over on Patreon. So if you want to check out the Patreon, check it out. Link down below in the description. I do give out additional plays later in the day, usually around 4 or 5 Eastern. I'll have some more plays I like posted for Prizepicks. I'll post those over on Patreon. So check that out if you're interested. But again, hopefully we can go 4-0 tonight, hit all 4 of these plays. Again, you can choose how you want to play these. If you want to do a 4-pick power, that's fine. I would just recommend that you probably play lighter on those. I think the smartest way to play is probably to take 2 picks, do a 2-pick power with those 2, maybe Poole and Tyus Jones, and then do a 2-pick with Halliburton and Vucevic. Again, it's up to you how do you decide want to play these, but hopefully we can hit all 4 of these, go 4-0 tonight. We've been doing really well lately on the free picks, so let's kind of got to keep the ball rolling. But I wish you guys the best of luck tonight. I do appreciate you watching the video. If you enjoyed, hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button as well if you have not yet. Again, go sign up for Prizepicks. Use that promo code NOAH when you sign up. Get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you sign up with my promo code. And you can tell the plays I give in this video. Make some additional plays for yourself. But again, sign up for Prizepicks and use code NOAH. Get that deposit bonus when you do sign up. But best of luck tonight, guys. Really appreciate you watching the video. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one.